Good evening. It's Thursday, October 12th, 2017. This is season 7, episode 2 of the final season of our favorite show to cover live immediately after the East Coast broadcast. This is the Scandalous Scandal Recap. I am your host, Larry Brown Jr., joined by my fantastic friend, the Janiyah Wright. Janiyah, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, LBJ. I am fantastic. LBJ, that episode was so good. So good. Ooh.
Yes, that episode was so good. It almost made you want to press the flesh. That was the name of tonight's episode. Press the flesh.
Oh
Let
gosh,
me make sure
we
it's
have to
press the
start
flesh.
off
No,
with
I'm
hashtag
sorry.
corny.
It's pressing the flesh. But before we talk about pressing the flesh tonight, you're whispering just a bit. Are you on a tryst or a secret rendezvous with Marcus? Is that why Marcus is not at 1600 right now? What's going on? What took so long for you to log on tonight?
And I apologize, everybody, for the late start. I am on location. Okay, I am not.
Are you in LA? Are you on set without me?
Yes, and actually, our special guest host, Shonda Rhimes, is right here. Come on over, girlfriend. LBJ, I am whispering because I am actually in South Carolina at the guest house of a corporation, a graduate program right now, and I've taken on a mentor, and he's been taking me around. And LBJ, let me tell you, this is the hashtag good life that I'm living for just one night in South Carolina.
Let me ask this though. So you're in South Carolina and you're in a guest house. Are you
Yes.
sure it's a guest house? Is there like a big house further down the road or in another backyard with a long lawn in front of it tonight? If so, get out. Start running now. Do the run and get off the plantation right now.
They call it a guest house, but really it's a hotel.
Right.
So
oh, perfect.
it's a
Okay.
little
Very
hotel.
good.
Yeah.
As long as it's a hotel, we're all good. We don't want you staying at any
But
quarters.
Yeah, and LBJ, let me just say, containing my excitement while watching tonight's episode was so hard. There were several moments where I wanted to scream out. Yeah, and I couldn't, LBJ. I have to manage the volume, so my energy might be a little low tonight. Just apologies in advance.
I promise you, it's perfectly fine. Other folks who wanted to scream out are live in the chat right now, from Mrs. Creole Davis, Yolanda Baker, Normina's Harmony, and Richardson, Cat Harlem, Coffee Light and Sweet, Monuments Humans. We've got also in the chat. It was someone else I saw. Who was it? Someone just said Yolanda Baker. Sorry. Yep, I said Nomina's Harmony. Yep. Catherine Belger, Yolanda Baker. All of you are here. We see you chatting. Keep chatting. We've been hanging out. Also, D Hill is here. D Hill was up. Idon Matrix was up. Sweet as Z. Hey Zoe. Everyone is hanging out. Dan Blakemore, good evening to you as well. Janiyah has been running hither and thither. I grabbed an airplane tonight, headed back to Washington, landed, and they had a great hipster gentrification festival on the Southwest waterfront in Washington, D.C. that stopped all of the traffic, and they had all these kind of fireworks that lasted 20 minutes. And so traffic was at a standstill coming from the airport trying to get home. So I made it home, watched Scandal, eating some food, and literally ran to the basement to start tonight's broadcast. But anyhow, we are here and we are live. We are trying to deliver live every single night for the final season of Scandal. Insert the applause in your head because we have no sound effects. Let's talk about tonight's episode, Pressing the Flesh. Now, Janiyah, tonight's episode is what I like to call a gateway episode, a setup episode. The rhythm of tonight's episode was such that you were wondering, what is going on? Why are we seeing this? Why is this episode moving like this? And I wonder if other folks were feeling like that as well. And then there were moments in the episode where, we had these climactic moments that brought us to think, brought me to think something is about to go down that we need to prepare ourselves to see. What was your overall tenor that you grabbed from the episode?
LBJ, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say the exact same thing. If I were to qualify a theme for tonight's episode, it would be relationships evolving. We saw a little evolution in a couple of relationships. a little something between Abby and Huck, a little something between Abby and David, a little something between Olivia and a couple of people. We'll get to that a little later. LBJ, even Cyrus built a new relationship. And so I think tonight was definitely, it was laying the foundation, creating some new dynamics so that things can pop off a little bit later, setting some things up.
It was a total setup. So let's go through a few of the moments that we saw. So overall, this episode, everyone, dealt with the production of the first state dinner that President Mellie Grant is going to host in the White House.
Yes.
And because she is a single president, she's a single sitting woman president, she has to lean on her chief of staff, Olivia Pope, to handle the press. Normally, the first lady will send a statement from her communications shop to say what serving ware they're going to be using, what the menu consists of. You'll hear maybe who designed the first lady's dress. But we have a woman president on Scandal. Wish we had one in the real world. But we have one president on Scandal, and in the show, Olivia is left to talk to the press. And then while all these preparations are going on, there's something that seems to be going on as well with a key player in the White House, and that's our vice president, Cyrus Bean. And Cyrus is completely conflicted to the point where it's a little discomforting for me to watch him in this particular predicament. While Cyrus is in this predicament, he's a little preoccupied mentally with several different thoughts going on. And for me, I don't think Cyrus has come to grips with what he's experiencing now. And Cyrus isn't living in this moment. And I think that Cyrus is setting himself up to implode. Remember, Cyrus seasons ago had a heart attack because he could not manage his stress. He could not handle the pressure in what he was dealing with.
Yes.
So Cyrus is potentially going down this road one more time, folks. While that's going on, guess what else we see? We hear another mention, and we see once again the president of the Dubélé wine country, Bashranin. and President Bashranin is once again on the White House premises because this is the state dinner that's being hosted in his honor. Janiyah, take it away from there.
LBJ, this is the state dinner. Now, let's just remind ourselves of what happened before. Last week, LBJ, we saw Olivia and Mellie basically with this country. Is it Bashranin, LBJ? Why can't I say it?
Bashranin, Bashran, Bashran. Not Bashwan, Bashran.
Not Botswana, Bashran.
Botswana exists.
Last week, what did we see? We saw Mellie and Olivia doing a little power play with Bashranin, right? We saw them behind the scenes trying to get one of their spies out from Bashranin. And how did they negotiate? Well, not with friendly terms. They ended up basically pulling out some dirt on one of the delegates from Bashranin in order to get the job done. So nothing will muddy the waters like, pulling out one of Olivia's envelopes. And that's basically what happened. And so we saw tonight the country Bashranin again, front and center, okay? And it's Mellie not only trying to smooth over the waters from what has already occurred, but also trying to do something that would be amazing for her presidency. And it is to have a treaty in place with Bashranin. And so that is the context for this, for Bashranin being the featured guest at this dinner. Exciting. The White House is abuzz. The press is hither and thither and to and fro. And LBJ.
There it is. Our first hither and thither for the season, everybody. We got it.
And LBJ, everybody's getting ready. And I'm so happy you kicked us off with talking about Olivia and Cyrus, because you're right, LBJ. Cyrus is struggling with his role. And it's unfortunate because Cyrus, you knew more than anyone what you were walking into. And LBJ, we see him struggling to stay in character. So Olivia is giving him yet another coaching. Cyrus, be a team player. We need you to stay in character. We need you to do what needs to be done. Please, right now, I'm busy. Don't bother me. I have things to do. Go play your part. And what is the part she wants Cyrus to play? She wants Cyrus to schmooze a billionaire while at this dinner. Cyrus, of course, he's hemming and hawing. He just wants to be president of the United States. Cyrus, you're not yet, okay? And LBJ, he is just acting out. Olivia, in order to, and LBJ, back to what you were saying before about foreshadowing, okay? Olivia says to him, you know what, Cyrus, it would do you well relationship with this billionaire. You guys have some things in common. He's gay. He funds both sides of the fence. Okay, make that relationship. Maybe when you run for president, you'll be able to leverage him. So LBJ, that is what finally shuts Cyrus up, zips his lip, and he goes about doing that, schmoozing the billionaire. And LBJ, there were other people getting ready for the dinner. And let's talk about LBJ, Gabby Abby Red going in to leverage a familiar relationship so that she could get into the dinner. What did you think of that piece, LBJ?
So when Gabby Abby Red goes in to get access to the dinner, I was so glad. She was very apprehensive at first because she had to return to the place where she formerly worked, where she worked under the former administration, and she went with the encouragement of QPA. And let me just pause and say, let's look at the look how cool it was for QPA, for OPA to become QPA. I wonder what the symbolism and what the symbolism could potentially be by putting that stem through that O and making that O a Q. Maybe it's a stretch. I don't know. But while I was sitting there watching tonight's episode, when I heard Gabby Abby Red say QPA, I was like, all they really did was take that O and put a stem through that. I wonder if we can find some symbolism there. So stay tuned. I'm going to make it work by the end of the season. I promise you, I will make it work. I will make it work. I'm going to make it work.
You're so good, LBJ.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
But LBJ, before you leave that point, before you put a pin in it, okay, I wanted to talk about the fact that they rebranded the place at all, right? I think at the end of last season, what Olivia actually did was she handed over the reins of OPA to Quinn. Coming in this season and seeing that there was a renaming, that to me is strange. What do you think, LBJ? Do you think that was a strategic move on Olivia's part? I mean, why did this renaming even happen? What did people think in the chat? Was that Quinn's idea? Was that Olivia's idea? I mean, to me, from a branding standpoint, I don't see the value in them detaching from Olivia. What do people think? How did that even come to be?
Well, I think that QPA had to be because Olivia is no longer there. If Olivia was still underwriting, if Olivia was still in the office, if her nameplate was still on the door, then we have an opportunity to say OPA. But because this is a fresh start for them, however, they still have the affiliation with Olivia as them being former associates of hers. I think it was apropos that they called them QPA. Remember, Quinn Robin Lindsay Janai, although you don't want to admit it, is one of the best, if not the best character. Watch it. What do you have you ever seen Underground? You ever know Kato is on Underground? I'll have him come to your quarters and take you outside for a moment. So no, but I think that QPA, it was necessary because it was one of those elements of the storyline of Quinn that we have to experience to see her evolution. She is a mother. She's about to be a mother right now on the show. We've seen this girl. We've seen her go from a girl to a woman. And this is her standing in her professionalness, if you will. But going back to Gabby Abby Red and that White House, it took everything in her to go back to the White House to finagle a way for QPA to get into the state dinner. Why do they need to get into the state dinner? Because they need to establish themselves. Remember, Olivia's not with OPA. QPA is no longer OPA. That means there are no clients. Everybody, when Olivia left, so did the clients. Just like if you have a nonprofit and the CEO leaves, sometimes the money goes with that CEO because that's the person who's been whining and dining them the entire time. Dan Blakemore, you know a little bit about that, right? You try to help people strategize, right? So we have that going on, and they are using this opportunity to get into that White House to really start building a Rolodex. And they go in there under these aliases that made me question: does the social secretary actually have aliases on the guest list so that they can get people into the state dinner, and then they make an alteration to a place card or something once that person's inside of the White House? I don't know. But I say all that to say they got into the dinner and everyone's doing their due. Huck and Quinn Robert Lindsay and Charlie are playing husband and wife. They're playing not the Hemingways, not the Hardaways, but something with an H last name. And then you've got Gabby Abby Red walking around and she is She's passing by as Gabby Abby Red. She can't front as if she's someone else, and she's also secretly trying to avoid holding hands with her potential boo thing again, but not really quite, maybe. And he is David Rosen. David Rosen is the U.S. Attorney General, and he's slyly trying to hold hands with her throughout the episode a couple of times. She's not trying to feel it. She's like, let's just be friends. Don't weird this whole thing out. Then we've got Huck. Huck is in the White House, y'all, and Huck is not behind the scenes. Huck is on the actual state dinner floor, mixing and mingling. And he comes in contact while he's there, as an aside, with a gentleman that is a decorated vet. Huck is studying this man's ribbons, and he's looking at the ribbons and the man, and he doesn't think something checks out with him. And the man's like, "What's wrong? Like, you served? Hey, man, what's going on? Didn't you serve? I don't understand what's going on." And Huck walks away from the man. So that's essentially how the state dinner began. So we went from Gabby Abby Red getting the invitations to the state dinner, QPA getting into the state dinner. We're now at the state dinner. Meanwhile, remember, Janiyah mentioned that Mellie is trying to work on getting this treaty signed by President of Bashranin, who has amazing tea, which I think that someone needs to try to figure out a way to get that tea set and the amazing tea to me so that I can sample it. And all of this is taking place at the same time. The president and the president walk into the state. They're announced into the state dinner. Dinner commences, and we have conversation. The state dinner goes on and on. While the state dinner is going on, Huck is not inside the dinner. Why? Huck is sitting on the floor like I'm sitting on the floor outside the state dinner. And Gabby Abby Red's like, "Huck, what's going on? What are you doing sitting out here?" "Something's not right. Something's going on. Something's going on. Something's not right. I don't know what's going on." She's like, "Huck, what are you talking about?" That man in there, he said he was a vet, but it's not right. I'm running his face through the military system, through the military face recognition system. And I don't want to get into my 752s, but if I get into my 752s, I'm going to really lose it right here.
LBJ, the chat is giving Huck some major love. Even with
he came through, yes. And so what I'm getting, yes,
tendencies, okay, we know he's hamburger. But beyond that, LBJ, he is also, as Catherine Belger qualifies it, Huck is so dang useful. He really is.
He was
supposed to be there, LBJ, just scouting for customers. He was supposed to be schmoozing. And what did he end up doing, LBJ? Really sussing out some shenanigans, okay? LBJ, it was just so interesting. We watched earlier in the episode when Gabby Abby Red was trying to convince Huck to even go to the dinner and schmooze and participate. And he was just saying, "No, this isn't my thing. I don't do this." And actually, Mrs. Creole Davis was like reminding us that Huck was saying that he couldn't go and look for customers because he said, "I only know how to get people to talk by hurting them." He's like, "I don't really chit chat. I just basically rip off fingernails." And Gabby Abby Red is saying, "Well, yeah, let's leverage those skill sets, but let's just really see if we can keep the fingernails on." But LBJ, guess what? It was exactly his Spidey skill sets that we leveraged tonight, LBJ. What is the lesson there? I'm just going to do a quick takeaway, LBJ.
The lesson is never lose your 752. That's the lesson.
LBJ, that is the lesson. The other lesson, LBJ, is bring your whole self wherever you are, okay?
Look at you fixing lives. Look at Janiyah fixing lives, people.
You may be in one specific context for a specific reason, but bring the entirety of what you can offer. You never know when there is a spy waiting in, an army man's jacket, LBJ. You never know. Okay, please continue.
So as you hear, Spidey senses went off. Huck 752, the whole situation, found out that Homeboy's ribbons were out of order. The ribbons should technically be in order on your uniform, in the order of presidents that distributed the ribbon, that bestowed the ribbon. The man had the ribbons all out of order. Huck 752 them into the system, learned that he is not a former member of the U.S. Army, U.S. military, thus having to be taken down. He's like, only people who do something like that are killers. I know that because I'm a killer too. So game recognized game. Let's go get him. They go. Huck's the situation.
I got to shout out Kat Harlem in the chat because Kat Harlem noticed the medals were out of order. because of her military background.
Go ahead, Kat Harlem. You are on our team. Listen, you are on our team. If ever I need somebody to recognize anything, I got you, Kat Harlem. Because Kat Harlem, since you pay attention to details, did you notice what was going on in QPA when they were convincing Huck when Gabby Abbey Red was convincing Huck to attend the state dinner? Did anyone else notice that there was some like code automatically being written on his screen back there? Again, I pay attention to too many things in the scene. What is going on? And on what the Huck was going on that man's computer? He was not typing on that screen. Was he monitoring something on the black internet? What was going on?
Don't question him, LBJ. Okay.
Look, I'm looking for a Scandal spinoff.
People that question Huck. Don't question it, LBJ. Just go with it. Okay. Just go with it.
No, but see, Sweet as Z says there was a program running. She saw it too. Thank you, Zoe, Kat Harlem. You're on my team. When we're picking teams for tag and for dodgeball, y'all are on my team. Just stand every other person, so in case you have to count off 1, 2, 1, 2, you'll be number ones. You can be on my team.
Listen, I don't mind 1, 2, 1, 2. I just hate when they make you line up by height because I'm always last. LBJ. My whole childhood, I was discrimination because I was like 6 feet tall when I was like 1 year old.
Sorry.
You know, LBJ, and they would always have us lining up from shortest to tallest, and then if they didn't do that, it was alphabetical order. And once again, I got discriminated against LBJ with my W last name.
Oh, man.
Sorry. You just brought something up. I'm sorry.
You were just trying to fix lives. You have to arrive to the game with your complete self, Janiyah. That's what you just gave us a takeaway. Use your takeaway, okay? You use your takeaway, Janiyah, please. So Huck is 752 in this whole situation. He's gladiating. The Gladiators unite with B52. That's a band. They unite with the new B613, and they figure out that homeboy with the misordered ribbons is now in an office with the president of Bashranin, country of the most epic tea ever, and he is about to assassinate this man. He's about to assassinate him, not because he's an American, not because he's a terrorist, but because he's a disgruntled Bashrani. And the man thought that the Bashrani president thought that this war vet, this hero, was an American sent in to assassinate him. One, because he told Olivia Pope that he called Olivia Pope the devil, number one. Let's start there. Never call a black woman or any woman out of her name, any person out of their name. He called her the devil. He also said that they warned me about you. He said, "I'm not. You're barking up the wrong tree. I'm not signing this treaty. You Americans are so arrogant. You Americans are so vile because you want these treaties, but you have the most nuclear weapons, and you want everyone else to disarm their nuclear weapons." And he really pretty much is like, you know what? After this musical performance of said, random black girl singer, we're out of here. My people, my entourage are rolling out. And as they're rolling out, this vet comes to escort him into a private meeting with President Mellie. One-on-one, he goes in, locks the door, pulls out a gun with the silencer, and he's ready to take him out. And he's like, Bashrani, 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 Bashrani. And then all of a sudden, secrets, and President Bashranin is about to take it. He's just like, stand in honor for your country. And he's standing there looking the man eyeball to eyeball. Boom! In walks Secret Service, as escorted by Jake and Olivia Pope. They go in, save the day. And Mr. Bashranin is saved, and he is now open to hearing what the United States would like to do with him. And then he tells Mellie Grant that his niece, that Olivia Pope tried to use as bait to get him to sign the treaty, honors her work that she is doing as a woman president in the United States of America.
LBJ, you know what? On the topic of Mellie's womanness, I gotta just say, the chat right now, LBJ, I think some of us were a little distracted from the actual storyline of this episode tonight, LBJ, and it was by the fineness of the president of Bashranin. Now, listen, okay? We all knew at the beginning of the episode, they were setting up the fact that Mellie is she's feeling a little lonely, she's feeling a little desperate, LBJ. And when in walks that beautiful president, LBJ, that man is #beautiful. I mean, he's objectively fine. Okay, LBJ, people in the chat are giving him so much love, me included, because he deserves it. Okay. All right. Please continue.
Do you want to steep President Bashran's tea?
Listen, LBJ, tea, coffee, espresso, okay? Whatever he'd like. All right. Does he want Coca-Cola? Pepsi? I'm fine with that, LBJ.
He only sips tea out of amazing teacups, okay?
Gold goblets.
Exactly.
Yes.
Miniature gold goblets from Bashran. So all that takes place, the man is saved, he's going to sign the treaty, and we continue to move on. Let me take a couple of steps back, and let's give us let me bring to the forefront a piece of social commentary that this show has added to the conversation that I saw no one talking about online tonight. Did you notice the scene? Let's go back to Cyrus talking to the man who was like, yeah, man, I'm going to run for governor. Oh, man, this office looks really great. As he's in the Oval Office on the private tour that he forced Cyrus to give to him. This chair feels good. You know what? Skip running for governor. I'm running for president. And Cyrus is like, you're not running for president. I'm going to have an aneurysm. Like, he's screaming at the man at the top of his lungs, get out of the chair. I hold this office in high esteem. All this stuff, Cyrus is losing. You know, he's always looking like this, about to pop a blood vessel. So after all that takes place, Cyrus is telling the man to get up and out of Mellie's seat in the Oval Office, and he's telling him why this is such a sacred space. I dismissed that character from that speech that he gave him, Janai, and I inserted our sitting president in that space. He called him a boob, said you have no clue about history. You don't know what's going on. You just think you can come in and throw some money around and say, oh, I'm going to go play a hula hoop. I'm going to go throw a stone and hopscotch my way into the White House. And that was, as Coffee Light and Sweet just said, I see you, Coffee Light and Sweet. She says that was straight shade from Shondaland to our political climate. Absolutely. Folks, don't forget, this show, every letter that is written in that script means something, whether it's into the imaginary world of Shondaland, or if it's into the real world we are living in today. And that was not to that man. That was to the sitting leader of the free world in 2017 in this last season of Scandal. Very well played, guys. Very, very well played.
Very well done. Very well done, LBJ. And why don't we just wrap that storyline, because we're almost there. You know, Cyrus and LBJ, we loved the way that you just, you know, did that breakdown of Cyrus.
Oh, I got a blood vessel about to pop out my head.
What I love about what you just did there, LBJ, is that in addition to the voice, you were also like giving a narrative of what the voice was trying to express. And we thank you for that, LBJ.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
That was very good. So the way that storyline wraps is that, you know, Cyrus, he totally like is so rude to that billionaire. Now, remember, Olivia had said that this billionaire gave Mellie's campaign a whole heck of a lot of money. After Cyrus offends him, he walks out. And we think that he will never be seen again. And in fact, LBJ, I thought, oh my gosh, they just set up a storyline for Cyrus creating an enemy for Mellie, a wealthy enemy. Who was the last kind of wealthy, you know, sideline character that we had? Hollis Doyle. So LBJ, I was just wondering if they were creating another kind of like evil foil to be out there waiting in the wings. But LBJ, it turns out no. Cyrus, with his outburst, it's not clear at this point that he has made an enemy. In fact, LBJ, I think he may have made a best friend. All right, because when later on in the evening, once he's like winding down, he gets a wonderful present, LBJ. And who's it from? It's from Billionaire, and it is a priceless painting, LBJ.
Yes,
a priceless painting that Cyrus earlier in the evening had just expressed complete and total awe about the fact that the billionaire bought it like it was a bag of potato chips and didn't have any appreciation for it. So, LBJ, in that billionaire giving Cyrus that painting, he could have meant one of two things. He could have meant, number one, hey, mad respect, Cyrus, you call me out. And I respect you. Or LBJ, he could have meant, oh, you think that your opinion, anything you have to say is meaningful to me? It's not. In fact, here's some potato chips for you. So we're waiting to see, LBJ. Did you think that the painting was an olive branch or that it was a coded message of hatred?
It was totally an olive branch to me. I mean, once he saw how how impassioned he became, it really took new legs in his mind. Remember, he's got access to resources that many people will never see in life. I will see it one day, but there are several people who have no desire to see that. And he sees that, and he saw that he takes advantage of that, and he was squandering valuable opportunities away of exposure and appreciation for people who could really take something like that and celebrate it for what it is and what it can be and what it means to others. And so he extended that as an olive branch. To me, I took that as school me, become my friend, help me learn the way so that I can get in like you are in.
Okay, LBJ, I'll take that opinion. I'll take that opinion. And LBJ, you know, I have to say that billionaire, the actor who was actually playing him, and I do not know his name. I meant to look it up.
So the man playing I don't know the man's name either, but if you watch the show Claws that Niecy Nash is on, he's actually on that show, and his character on that show is called Uncle Daddy. It's one of the funniest characters ever. His name is, they were like, Uncle Daddy wants us to come do this. Uncle Daddy wants us to come do that. His name is Uncle Daddy. Just call him Uncle Daddy.
But LBJ, Uncle Daddy, that's I was going to say, LBJ, Uncle Daddy usually plays like a comedic role the times I have seen him. Okay. So the fact that he was there playing this character that was obviously so complex, LBJ, I was quite impressed with that guy. You know, I don't think we normally get to see him playing with that much depth. And so I wish I knew what his name was. Can somebody find his name? Because I have to say, I think he's going to be around a while. Okay, I think he's going to be around.
Well, guess what? He's going to be around for maybe about maybe 13,
10 more episodes.
14 more episodes, because this is it. This is it.
Unless he's getting a spinoff called Uncle Daddy Goes to the White House. But
okay, I'm still getting over sickness, guys. Sorry for the coughing on the mic. Yeah. Oh, but that's some kind of vaudeville review. Uncle Daddy Goes to the White House. What kind of foolishness?
So LBJ, let's go back to the dinner, because you know what? There's a lot of other shenanigans going on. Okay. LBJ, we have already started to talk. We've talked about Olivia and her relationship with Cyrus this evening, right? It was her once again checking him, putting him in his place. Olivia also had a very interesting exchange with Mellie, right? LBJ, did you cover this yet with Mellie and the Mellie Olivia exchange? I lost my audio for a minute, so I don't know.
We've not gone over Mellie Olivia yet. We have to do Mellie Olivia. I think we have to do Mellie Olivia every episode, because Mellie Olivia is going to crash and burn. Yes. If you ask me, this season, and it's going to, all hell will break. The hell and the high water, and the fire and the fury that will also come in on from Olivia Pope.
LBJ, it's the fire and the fury and the what and the famine, okay? Because Mellie tonight said that there is a famine in her lady parts. Okay, that's what she said. She said there's a famine in my lady parts. LBJ, what was she talking about? She was
talking about that young strapping civil rights activist, that social justice advocate that was no longer fixing the plumbing in her internal pipes and having that spigot at her nectar.
Yeah, it's called Marcus withdrawal, and I've had it. It's hard, LBJ. LBJ, trust me, it takes a minute to get over that, okay? Because what will happen is it'll creep up on you when you're not expecting it. Okay, there you are, minding your own business, walking about your life, and then all of a sudden, a little nectar comes seeping out your left ear, okay? And once again, you're back in the darkness. So I know what Mellie is going through. LBJ, she's going through withdrawal. Now, she's saying to Olivia, listen, in addition to all of the burdens that I knowingly took on, there are a couple that really were a sneak attack. And she was talking about the fact, LBJ, and this was once again, hashtag Shonda, using her platform, LBJ. Mellie talked about the fact that, of men being intimidated by really powerful women and how a shame that is, right? And she talks about, for her being the leader of the free world, well, there aren't many women who are much more powerful than that. Clearly. And so she was basically saying, listen, my dating pool doesn't exist. So maybe it's just time for me to get a vibrator. And she then goes on to LBJ to talk about how she can't even get a vibrator because she don't got no privacy. LBJ, so it was hilarious. Obviously, it was a setup for things to come. You know, we saw her have a little, nectar exchange a little later in the episode. Okay, we'll talk about that. But LBJ, it was also a moment for her and Olivia to commiserate, right? Because Olivia's response to it was, "Oh, Mellie, you're whining yet again." Blah, 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 blah. But she also said, "Mellie, I know where you're coming from." She said, "I've been there," because Olivia is lonely. She has been lonely. Even when she has had a lover, even when she's had multiple lovers, LBJ, at the same time, simultaneously getting it in over here and over there. LBJ, even in those moments, she's been lonely. She's been isolated. Part of it is who she is. Part of it is who she wants to be, LBJ. Part of it is, that white hat. There are so many reasons why she's been lonely, LBJ, but she absolutely knows where Mellie is coming from. So I love that, LBJ. That little moment reminded me of the two of them sitting in the tub sipping hooch. You remember that?
That's what Olivia Pope was doing to Mellie when she was talking in that whole moment. That was her reaction to Mellie in that scene that Janiyah is recapping there. And to myself, I said, gosh, here she goes being her father once again. Shout out to Kerry Washington this season for studying the people playing her character's mother and father these 6 seasons on the show. Have you noticed, or I admonish you to pay attention to how she's adapting various elements of the way that they play into how Olivia is played on camera. And she has studied Joe Morton and Candy, what's Candy's last name? But Candy, whatever Candy's last name is, sorry, Candy. But she studied Joe and Candy. She studied Joe and Candy to be able to bring not Joe and Candy to the screen, but she brings mom and dad to the screen. And I loved how she did that in that moment. Her father had those random outbursts in some scenes that he had with her, and it brought her to reality. It was his way of grabbing her attention, getting her to see what he needed her to see, and then moving on and making that mental pivot, thus creating a new action inside of her life. And that's exactly what she did there. Yes, Janiyah, it was reminiscent of the scene of them in the bathtub sipping the hooch after election night. And I also say that it was reminiscent of her father getting her in check.
Oh, LBJ, you just took us. LBJ, you just took us somewhere.
Candy Alexander, thank you, Coffee Light and Sweet and Dan. Thank you.
Yeah, that's exactly LBJ. We've had a couple of fact checks in the chat. Number one, Candy Alexander. Number two, that actor that's playing the billionaire, Candace Brown found him. His name is Dean Norris, LBJ. Yes. Hashtag the Uncle Daddy.
Uncle Daddy.
But he is doing this thing in this new role. And LBJ, somebody in the chat found the name of that amazing singer. Okay. For those who have not yet watched the episode and you're watching this chat, please have your Shazam ready. Okay. Because you need to capture this woman singing at the White House dinner because she is so good. And somebody in the chat found her name and now I can't find it. I think it scrolled away.
Well, while that's scrolling away, I'm going to
I'll look for it. Someone put it in there.
While you're looking for that, I'm going to give you, while we're talking about music, let me pull up.
I found it, LBJ. It's
perfect.
Mrs. Creole Davis. Mrs. Creole Davis found her, and her name is Denise Janae. Everybody, Denise Janae, Janae. Let us all give her a shout out because she was so good.
And let's shout out tonight's Scandal Jam Session songs that were played before we forget that. Working from back to front, we had oh goodness, I am in the wrong look. I put up Scandal stuff from May 2017. So we've got tonight's Scandal Jam Session includes Joy Inside My Tears by Stevie Wonder. Another Stevie Wonder song that came through tonight, Summer Soft by Stevie Wonder. That's the song that Gina Tay was singing. Is that her name? Gina Tay. Remember the episode of Martin? Regina said, my name is Gina Tay.
Please don't make fun of my new favorite singer. Her name is Denise Janae.
It sounds like Jean Nutte. It sounds like Jean Nutte. Okay.
Then we also, I love her, and she's my best friend because she had an Afro puff. Okay, please continue.
But she was a very beautiful cover of Stevie Wonder's Summer Soft. Next up, working from back to front, it was Jam On It by Nucleus. And finally, kicking the episode off was Push It by Salt and Pepper. Salt and Pepper, see it, and we're in effect. Hey! Those are our Scandal Jam session songs for tonight. Sorry we missed last week's episodes, but I can give you guys those in the chat, or I'll put them in the comments on last week's YouTube video.
Yay, LBJ, definitely put it in the comments because we need to document those for historical record because this show is almost off, guys. I can't believe this is the last season. I'm so
get the Scandal recap in the National Archives, guys.
So LBJ, we are wrapping up these storylines. So the next storyline for us to wrap up is just the couple that are related to President Fine. Okay, that's what we're gonna call him. LBJ. President Foyne with an O. Okay, President Foine Foyne. Okay.
Let me just say that if you book a trip to Bashran as you're gloating over President Bashran, President Foyne, as you're calling him, you're going to end up at Chilligan's Island because that place does not exist. Okay, you're going to have an incident with a puppy.
LBJ,
and I'm going to make you listen to Jean Nutte.
LBJ, please don't hate on my love. Don't hate on our love. Okay, LBJ. Every time I find somebody, you can't be supportive. You never supported me and Marcus. Now, one day, okay?
I actually did support you and Marcus. I supported you and Marcus. I'd rather you and Marcus and somebody else's wife. How about that?
And LBJ, President Fine, let's wrap up his couple of storylines, okay? First of all, we watch Mellie trying to negotiate with President Fine, okay? So President Fine is really not trying to hear what she's saying. They have a conversation in the office. They have a conversation while at dinner. And the thing that is revealed through those conversations is the vulnerability of President Fine. Okay? What he's showing is, listen, I'm not, you guys shorthand me as a dictator, blah, 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 blah. But really, I'm mad deep, yo. I have many layers. And he was telling them back from Mellie, okay? He was telling her all about, the turmoils and the fact that people are trying to kill him. And that at the end of the day, what he's actually doing is trying to champion what he feels is best for his people. He is not trying to be a dictator. He is trying to be an empowerer, LBJ. And that's what we learn. And we also see just a little bit of what I would like to call pre-nectar sizzling between the two of them. Okay. And so, LBJ, there is certainly some nectar to come here because they had so much chemistry. And we already know Mellie, frankly, would have got it on with anybody at that point. But her and President Fine, they had a couple of very intimate conversations. There was another conversation that President Fine had.
Sidebar, Janiyah, you need to have a conversation with your inner parts because Mrs. Creo Davis says Janiyah has a Marcus famine in her lady birds. Hilarious.
It's funny because it's true. Anyway. Because it's true.
Oh, gosh.
And LBJ, the other conversation that the president had that was very important was with Olivia. Okay, so as we talked about at the beginning of our chat, the last time Olivia had an interaction with this country, she was using one of her envelopes to try to really just manipulate things into happening in the way that she wanted, and she was successful. LBJ, she tried to pull that out again. In fact, she went to Jake, in the magical basement of the White House, and basically said, Jake, I need some Mintel, stat, blah, blah, blah. And Jake's trying to be friendly to her and have a little chit chat. She gave him no chit chat, LBJ. She's drawing that line. And she said, no, please just complete your professional duties. Thank you, which is to just find me some envelope data on President Fine. So Jake ends up finding out that President Fine has changed the name of one of his relatives, his niece, and he's having her being educated in the United States of America. So Olivia takes that information, puts it in her envelope. She goes and confronts President Fine with it. And President Fine, he is not picking up what she's dropping. In fact, what he says to her is, this is so typical you. And this is the point you were alluding to earlier, LBJ, where he called her a devil. And what was so
Yes.
what was so important about that moment, LBJ, is that it wasn't even his inkling. He was saying that somebody else told him that she was the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So obviously word is out on the street. Olivia, you the devil girl. And so he does not pick up what she's dropping. And LBJ, here is why that scene was so important. And I'm about to give you another takeaway, LBJ. I hope you're ready.
Ding
Okay.
dong, ding dong, ding
It's takeaway
dong,
time because LBJ,
ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
who is it? Who is it?
Hey yo, what up?
I'm sorry, I don't think we met before.
Hey yo, what up? This
I don't
fact
think.
checker F dog. I'm here to tell you that Sweet and Z says it wasn't the basement, yo. It was FDR's pool, yo. I'm out. Ding dong. How do we
Thank
not
you,
have sound
F-Dog.
effects for the final season of Scandal? This is
Thank you,
terrible.
F-Dog.
Google,
Oh my
YouTube, we need
God.
you to get it together. Find a new apparatus, please. Thanks.
But LBJ not having sound effects is causing us to get more creative.
It
So
is. Fact checker F dog. I don't know where he came from, but whatever.
yeah, you just had that. You just had some random gangsta doorbell sound, which none of us were ready for.
Some
And
people, some brazen
thank you, Sweet Z.
goons. They're very bold. I don't ring doorbells, yo. I announce myself for what I got. I use my tool. I use what I got.
LBJ, you know who you sound like, Brother Man from the Fifth Floor.
Fifth floor.
Oh my gosh, LPG, that's what we need to do. We need a web show where we really just recap some of these actors and comedians that we just don't see anymore, but are so important. I mean, the comedy of Martin Payne, LBJ, that show that will live forever because it was so good. We will
Yes.
all, for the rest of our lives, remember Brother Man from the Fifth Floor. That was so good. Anyway, that was a tangent. But LBJ, I just love me some Martin. LBJ, what was important about this exchange between Olivia and the president was the fact that Olivia failed. And
Mm,
what did we learn here? Olivia, usually, especially when she has one of her envelopes, normally she is the scariest option, right? She's the most intimidating option. She's the monster, she's the devil. Well, guess what? It turns out that President Fine has some enemies that are just a little bit more scary than her. And so, LBJ, in many ways, that was a humbling moment for Olivia. And I hope that she can take that all in. Olivia, your old tricks that worked when you weren't in the White House, they may not work here, okay? Because the stakes are much higher. So, LBJ, that was a very important point. And so that was basically
totally.
it with President Fine. Was there anything else?
I think you captured everything that you wanted to capture with your new favorite president, Fine. Many people are wondering, will you forsake Marcus and ditch Marcus for President Fine in the final season of Scandal? I think it remains to be seen, people. And Catherine Belger hit me, the fact checker Frank, and says that the old pool is in the basement, Larry Brown Jr. The pool is in the basement. So thank you, Catherine Belger. I was just ding-donging on what someone else in the chat said. But we it's all love and it's all good. I want to bring up before we close out the fact that the white hat is on the rise. The white hat still exists, but the white hat is going to get dingy. Let me tell you why. Too much good is happening right now in Scandal. Olivia has not become the scandalous diamond she can become in the heat of fixing, in the heat of strategizing, in the heat of trying to do what's right, in the heat of being torn between good and evil. That has not happened yet. Remember last week I said we're going to see something. We have to see something this year. I believe we're going to see something this season with Olivia, her dad, and her mom in the room, like making a power play. And someone's going to make that power grab at that table. That very well might be when the white hat gets stingy. I don't think that she's gonna ride out the season with the white hat completely white. Now she might take it to the dry cleaners and try to do some spot treatments and make it white again, but there will be scars, there will be wounds on that white hat before this season is over. That is a prediction I am sticking with. If I have to say it every episode, I will. And I'd like to stick to that because in my gut of guts, and I got a lot of them, I really do feel that this is something that we are going to see happen to this season.
LBJ, I know you're right. And on the topic of dirty, LBJ.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
There are two other relationships. And you know what? It'll only take a minute. There are two other relationships that we just need to touch on really quickly before we close out. And it's Olivia, number one, and the reporter guy. What's his name? Joshua.
Curtis. Curtis was supposed to love me. Dun, 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 dun.
OBJ. So Olivia and Curtis, they, as we all recall, had a fling on Olivia's terms. He traipsed himself right on up into the White House dinner tonight and was all up in her face with his, oh, ooh la la, look at me, I'm so cute, and just really, in your arena in terms of thinking and etc. and trying to, turn her on. And LBJ, she at first was not picking up what he was dropping. As the night proceeded, she had that pivotal moment where her ego got shot down by President Fine. And there, in all of her woundedness, she goes now to Curtis and reminds him that he was supposed to love her. Okay. And basically, they head on back to the Olivia Cave, the Olivia Bat Cave, the Olivia Fortress. Okay. The fortress of popcorn, red wine, and obviously, no listening devices ever because Huck scans it every day. LBJ, they go back to her place. They're getting it on in the elevator. They're getting it started in the hallway. And LBJ turned to the left. And who is standing there, LBJ? I will let you say. Who was standing there, LBJ?
Curtis had his can of white peach nectar just glistening, and you can take it and just see the nectar just running down the bottle. Look at all that nectar just outside of the can. And he cracked that can open. And he was like, oh, I'm about to get me the nectar, get my insulin ready. I'm going to have some nectar, get the insulin ready.
You get some nectar, you get some nectar, you get some nectar. Everybody gets nectar.
And all of a sudden we come in and who do we see standing next to Olivia's door? In the hallway of this apartment that she needs to leave because she is the chief of staff of the White House. Standing there is Fitzgerald Grant, looking like Mr. Clean with hair, leaning up against the wall like, what are you doing? And we end the episode there. Now, as an aside, Tony Goldwyn was standing on there. I saw two people. I saw Fitz Grant and I saw Tony Goldwyn. I saw Fitz because Olivia quivered just a little bit. Mm-hmm. However, I saw Tony Goldwyn because he was standing there looking like the director that he was for tonight's episode, and he was about to announce that's a wrap because he just looked dressed down. He looked relaxed. He looked as if this was the end of the episode, and he was going to say that's a wrap. And I felt like we saw a scene where the camera kind of caught him getting ready to congratulate them for doing great work as a director before they wrapped. So it was kind of weird watching that scene for me. But I loved that moment because, again, as I said to you at the top of our Scandal recap, this episode gave us these moments of scandal tension. It wasn't a fully tense episode, but it was almost like there was a pulse going through, and every now and then it would peak, and then it would find its low and start peaking again as the episode continued on. And that, to me, was a wonderful way to peak before we drop down into another valley that we do not know what's down there for the next episode. When we saw Fitz standing there, I heard in the spirit realm. I heard it in the spirit realm. I heard it. Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan. I heard it. Yes, I did. I heard it. Hot tea and toast. Hot tea and toast. I heard it in the spirit realm that there were many people, many households across America that went up in the screen because Fitz has made an appearance now in season 7 of Scandal. And now all the nectar flowing that we are used to in Scandal is about to be on and popping because, with Jake, with Fitz, and now with Curtis in the mix, and who else knows who Olivia will try to offer up the nectar to, it's about to be a full nectar fest, okay? Stay tuned, folks. It's about to go down.
And LBJ, what is so very interesting? The whole reason that Olivia was even there with Curtis was because she was feeling so weak and vulnerable. Trust me, Fitz, his plan would have worked. It would have worked, LBJ. There would have been no boundaries, and that nectar would have flowed forth. But what now? What now? Are the two of them ever going to be able to have the kind of mature relationship where they say, all right, we're both single now, and we're seeing other people. We're keeping it loose, we're keeping it open. LBJ, we don't know. We'll see. It's going to be good. It's going to be good, LBJ. Do you have any takeaways, LBJ? I know I
Oh,
already gave a
absolutely.
couple.
So my takeaway is that we are finally getting to what makes me feel the feels for this final season, every single episode thus far. And have you noticed when the show starts, when do some of the cutaways, like when it come in with the code after the cold open of the show, then they come out to show the show's the title slide of the show. We see this kind of montage of all the key players, all the principals in the cast of Scandal. And I hate goodbyes. I really do hate goodbyes. And this is preparing me for the final episode of Scandal. That's going to make me. And so we see all these little like moments throughout the season to come of everybody that's going to be that's playing in the show. Everyone we've grown to love, hate, and who is still alive on the show. Let's say that, because we don't have Lizzie DeGeneres anymore. We also don't have oh my gosh, what's his character's name? Harrison. We don't have Harrison anymore. We don't have some of those other key players that we've had in the show, but we've got who we've got, and this is our plan to say farewell. So yes, Normina's Harmony, I feel like next week is going to bring everybody into the fold, because remember, we're missing Fitz and we're missing Marcus. And Normina's Harmony says, if Fitz is back, does that mean Marcus is back? I say absolutely Marcus is back, because remember, he went to Vermont with him to run this foundation. Now, we have a little help in our predictions for next week and episodes to come, because we see Papa Pope with the gun and the silencer talking to Fitz. Is he going to threaten Fitz? I don't think so. I don't think he's threatening Fitz. I think they're going to try to work together. Remember, Fitz is dirty and dark too, folks. He's a killer. Fitz is a killer, and Papa Pope knows that. And I think that we might see an opportunity for them to go and take some kind of action, and maybe even Marcus. Remember, Marcus has been the curious cat all these seasons that he's been, these 2 seasons that he's been on the show. Once he's gotten into OPA, and he's not necessarily dirtied his hand like they've dirtied their hand. Remember, I said a season and a half ago, and last season, Marcus is yet to get dirty. He might get dirty this season. I think we're going to see Marcus get a little dirty, because he's down there and he's got nothing to lose. He lives in Vermont, for God's sakes. Nothing but them, that foundation, and Ben and Jerry's there. What about
LBJ? You know what? I've given a couple of my takeaways already, LBJ. I will tell you, I knew Fitz was coming back. Okay, we knew we were going to see him.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it was bound to happen. But I will tell you, I had kind of had a conversation with myself about whether when he came back, it would be for Olivia or Mellie. I just tell you,
oh my gosh,
there's always been a little bit of hashtag circle back between the two of them.
Hashtag, now, where's that daughter?
But then again, where are Mellie's children? Because I feel like all of their children are.
One is dead. Where's the baby? We need to find the baby and that daughter. The daughter who was doing all kinds of adult stuff on Scandal Snapchat.
Yes. And LBJ, so I gave my takeaways earlier. I think, we just need to really acknowledge Shonda and all of her genius, just bringing in these wonderful, wonderful, dialogues to us. We were talking today about women in power and the struggles that go along with that. We were talking today about these very important themes related to Brother Man from the Fifth Floor being an iconic comedic character, all of this inspired by Shonda. And so, LBJ, I think my last takeaway for tonight is that we need to Shonda, and we need to cherish Scandal every single moment we have. We need to just be soaking it up as much as we can. And that, LBJ, is my segue to just a thank you to everybody. I mean, I'm like, every time I see a little pop up from, Dan Blakemore, it's emotional for me, because it's like, my gosh, we've been together since the beginning, and it's like the show is going off, and I just love our little community that we have here on the Scandalous Scandal recap. So I just thank you guys for tuning in and watching us all the time.
I know.
Hashtag sentimental, LBJ.
I know. I feel all mushy gushy too. You know, I hate goodbyes. I think we should do like a final episode like the Cosby Show and do like maybe you can. I'll ring a doorbell. Do 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 do, and we'll just dance off into internet land, and we just come back with various iterations of the Scandal recap, like they did for Cosby. We'll call it recap,
or just Scandal. Oh. Yeah, it was like Cosby. Then it was like
exactly.
Hashtag
Cos. But no, in all seriousness, we thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Continue the conversation in the comments section under the YouTube video. Listen, we have been invited to participate in a session in a Meet Who You Tweet event next summer in August in New York City. Now, if you are a fan of Scandal and you watch the Scandal recap, if you watch the AfterBuzz TV show with some of our brothers and sisters over there, or if you watch Men on Scandal, if you've ever gotten into cartoon Scandal, any iteration of a Scandal recap online, we have been invited to participate in an event as panelists next summer once Scandal has wrapped, with other folks from around the world who are coming to New York to celebrate this event. This event will take place. It's the Gladiators final meetup. It's taking place in New York City, May 25th through 28th, 2018. Gladiators Unite in New York City at the Millennium Hilton Hotel. You can call the hotel to make your reservations, and we will be on a panel Saturday, May 26th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now, what we're going to do for 4 hours with all these people, I don't know. But all I do know is that a sound effect?
LDJ,
I
think that's the end of the chat calling. Oh gosh. Hello, we'll be right with you. We'll be right with you into the chat. Anyway, go ahead.
Probably downstairs saying, "Ma'am, you're too loud." You're speaking above a whisper. We're gonna come and squirt you.
No, I'm in trouble. I keep forgetting and talking at normal volume. Okay. Anyway.
Anyhow, yes, if you're interested in that event,
we'll keep sharing the information. And LBJ, maybe we can put it in the comments.
Absolutely, yes. We'll continue sharing the information, but please, by all means, go call the hotel, make a reservation. It'll be there. I heard that cast members and executives from the show are being invited. As an aside, I was kind of hoping they would invite some of us to be a part of the final season as commentators or something, as extras, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Well, we need to keep hope alive, that's for sure. And I'm gonna tell you guys, the Gladiators Unite meetup, it does. Let me tell you, they make good on every promise. Last year at Gladiators, was it last year?
No, that was 2014.
2014 at Gladiators Unite, we actually had Papa Pope come through, and I had an opportunity to sit on a panel with Papa Pope and actually debrief the show Scandal. And that was at the Gladiators Unite meetup, guys. So you got to be there. But we'll keep promoting it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So until next week, I'm Larry Brown Jr., joined by my fantastic friend, Janiyah Wright. This has been the Scandalous Scandal Recap, episode 7, season 2. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, bye.